Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. I am Compai. I try to be Susua's voice of reason. I think I do a pretty good job at it. I get asked the same question all the time in Casa De Compai. John, I'm thinking about buying property. What input do you have? I actually had somebody put a comment down below pretty much asking the same thing. So, Mr. Smith, I'm going to answer your question today. But the best answer I have is for everybody who's coming to the Dominican Republic on vacation. Check out my spot, Casa De Compai.
There's a lot of places to rent in Susua. If you're looking for peaceful, affordable, and tranquil, look at Casa De Compai, Susua's hidden gem. When you're ready to reserve at Casa De Compai, my contact information is in the description down below.
Guys, thank you so much for watching my video. If you want to stay at Casa De Compai, my contact information will be in the description down below. So I'm going to read exactly the question that was asked. Mr. Stephen Smith says, without giving away any obvious information, generally, where did you choose your villa location and what went into your decision? Well, when I bought my villa, it was the last property I purchased here in the Dominican Republic. It was my third. So I already had a condo that I bought 10 years before that. So I need to back up to that point in time. So when I came down here looking for property in the Dominican Republic, I was looking for anywhere in the Caribbean. My backstory is I used to work for Trump. So one day I ended up getting pulled into my boss's office and he said, yo, Compai, we're going to the Caribbean. We're going to go to a place called St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a little island called Canouan, and we're going to build a casino there. And I went, you're kidding me. You're going to pay me to go to the Caribbean to go to work. He's like, yeah. I said, Lou, how long? He goes, well, this trip is going to be quick. We're going to go for 2 weeks. I always wanted to live in the Caribbean as a kid. Growing up on the Jersey Shore, one of my biggest problems was winter. I hated winter. And I wanted to be able to swim in the ocean anytime I wanted. So for me, the Caribbean was just a natural draw. I was looking at other islands. I was looking very hard at Jamaica. I was looking at St. Lucia. I was looking at St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I was thinking about Puerto Rico. So why did I wind up down here? I wound up down here for the sole reason it was extremely affordable. I could get the best bang for my buck in the Dominican Republic. So I came down here specifically looking at property. And when I found that Susua at this point in time had an extremely large German community, I absolutely fell in love. My second language is German. I lived in Germany for 5 years when I was in the military. So for me, it ticked a lot of boxes. So that's when I bought my first condo down here. And then the plan was to retire at Verizon. At this point, I'm working at Verizon. I had a little retirement house that I restored in New Jersey. So the plan was retire at 55, collect my pension, and just bounce back and forth. Spent the summers in Jersey, spent the winters down here in Susua, but the longer I was down here, the more I realized this is where I want to live. I didn't want to come down here and be the next starving real estate agent trying to make his way. I didn't want to manage other people's property. So what went into my decision, not moving down here right away, because you don't want to be the next poor gringo on this island. You want to have enough financial stability to be able to live a decent life. If you're not living the same lifestyle you're living back home, in your home state, as you are down here, you need to go back home to your home state and go back to work and then come back when you have enough money. There's enough poor people on this island. We don't need gringos to add to it. As foreigners, we're supposed to make this island better, not worse. So with that being said, I realized I wanted to be down here more and I wanted to be properly funded. And the only reason that I have Casa De Compai is because every Saturday morning I would be doing my homework. We didn't have YouTube, and quite frankly, I wouldn't be giving most of these YouTube real estate experts much thought anyway. As a guy that's been buying property since he was 20, redoing that property, not flipping, but buying and holding and renting out for, at this point, 25 years before I bought Casa de Compai. That's when Casa de Compai, a rundown Dominican-style condo complex, went up for sale, and that was only the small building, units 1, 2, and 3. So when I bought that, that is when I just knew my transition down here was going to be quicker. That was 2014. In 2017, I moved down here full-time, and then that's when I GC'd the 3-story building that has all the 1-bedrooms. So that went into my decision to come down here. So what I'm telling you is, look at all the other islands. When you realize you want to be in the Dominican Republic, I suggest that everybody do not buy. Come down here, rent. If you have an idea you want to live in gated community A, rent in there for 3-4 months, an extended period of time. There's certain things you won't know until you're down here a while. That's why I say do not take advice from a lot of these YouTube content creators, because all they're doing is going to these places. They're doing a little day trip. They're signing commission contracts so they get their commission, and then they're going to do positive promotion. That's what I'm calling it. We're going to do butterflies, rainbows, and unicorn videos and why this is the next greatest place to invest. But you have to have boots on the ground here. You have to spend extended time here to understand where you're buying. And the last thing you want to do is not put money into a property and then regret it. Because I'm here to tell you, look, this, if you're going to take one thing out of this video, this is what you take away. It's really easy to get into property in the Dominican Republic. It's hard to get out. Let me say that again. It's very easy to get into property here. It's very hard to get out. The quickest way most people get out is they unload their properties on a fire sale. Very few people come down here and make good money buying and selling properties. You really, really got to be entrenched down here. You got to know the market. You got to know where you're buying. So if you're that guy, Mr. Smith, and especially the part of the question that I didn't read out loud, when you get outside of the tourist areas that aren't heavily populated, it's even harder to understand where you're buying. Because if you're in a barrio and you're not in a gated community or a condo complex, the #1 priority is security. And the hardest thing to do down here is to secure your property. The bigger it is, the harder it will be. My personal belief is if you want something nice down here, you better be able to wall it in. That's why I drive a beater car. That's why I live in a gated community. That's why my business is walled in and secured. What I want everybody to really understand, the most important thing that I want everybody to do when you're looking to buy property here, especially if it's in a condo complex and a gated community, is I want to see the rules and regulations. You want to get them rules and regulations. You want to make sure that property you're buying in that development, you can live the kind of lifestyle you want. If you're that person that wants to have parties until 2 in the morning and your friends over and girls over and music blaring, make sure you can do that. If you're the guy that doesn't want to hear that guy with girls screaming, hooker fights, loud music, you want to make sure that's in the rules and regulations, that there's regulations that will protect your quality of life. And not only do they need to be written down in the rules and regulations, but then you need to go to an online forum like DR1 and ask the questions. Is gated community, is condo complex A or B? Which one's quieter? Which one's enforces the rules? If you live there, I want to hear from you. That's what you have to do. You got to make sure where you're buying, you can live the lifestyle you want to live. So guys, Steve, my suggestion is before you buy anything, come down here, Get boots on the ground. Take your time. Go slow. Don't ever believe you have to buy now down here. That's one of the biggest lies going. Understand the area, understand its good points, understand its low points, and make sure it works for you. Guys, remember, always keep private personal and personal private. Thank you for watching.